Hello, good afternoon. You've tuned into Your Stocks, coming live from the CNBC-TV18 Motilal Oswal studios. I'm Vinny Motiwala. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. And obviously, today is the Bihar election verdict day that is coming in. And as of now, in terms of the seats that you're seeing for the NDA, that is crossed that 200 mark. Now at 201 is for NDA, 37 for RJD, and others is 5. So clearly, seems like that majority side so far leading, coming in there from the NDA side, and that is something that we'll be watching out for through the day as well. But yes, as of now, NDA 201 out of the 243 seats. Clearly, we're seeing that majority coming in there. But final results is what we'll keep an eye out on. Now, let's keep it going with the markets then. What's happened on that front is interesting to watch out for as well. As of now, the Nifty is moved towards the day's lowest point, 25,760, around that mark. So almost near the day's lowest point is what the Nifty is trading at, down more than 100 points in today's trading session. So at 12 o'clock, when you looked at it, it was down almost 50 points, not much. But then we've again seen a fall coming in, and look at the Nifty right now. Today's lowest point, like I mentioned, for the Nifty 50. Broader end of the market, I want to look at that, right? Because at one point of time, the Nifty small cap was managing to hold on to green, but that has also given up gains. Look at the mid cap, that has also given up gains. Small cap still managing to hold on to some bit of a gain that is there, though it was holding on to very strong gains. But from the day's highest point, we're seeing that the market has come off. So that's market setup. That's what we're watching out for. Last trading day in this week. But yes, a lot to watch out for in the last couple of hours of trading session as well. As of now, Nifty near the day's lowest point. But let's keep it going with those stock-related queries. And for that, we have our independent market expert, Shahina Mukadam, joining in with us, as well as Aditya Agarwala, Head of Research Investment at Invest for Edu, to answer all those stock-related doubts. Shahina, as well as Aditya, good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us on the show, as always. Let's get started with the first query for today. We have this coming from Mithun Das, who's writing to us from Chennai. He's holding 100 shares of Balrampur Chini. Price is 461 rupees per share, is what they have bought the stock at. Currently around that price is what the stock is trading at. Wants to know for the short term, what is the outlook on this one? Shahina, afternoon, and what are you keeping an eye out on in terms of Balrampur Chini?
Well, I think the numbers were quite decent actually with the reported for Q2. And I think even the government policies have started turning positive for the overall sugar sector. In the near term, if you see, they have started to allow exports much earlier than what they had done in the last season. Monsoons were good. Also, I believe, see, while ethanol prices have not increased over the last 2 years, there is a talk that there may be some review on ethanol pricing, which could be a positive both sentiment-wise as well as in terms of increased profitability for Balrampur Chini. So I think at current levels, one can hold.
Okay, at current levels, one can hold. Aditya, good afternoon. What's your view on Balrampur Chini? They want to hold it for a short term only. Do you think that they will see a good run up in the short term time period?
Good afternoon, Vinny. Thanks for having the show. I think so, yes, one should clearly hold on to Balrampur Chini because the correction, you've already seen a correction in the stock from the peak of 640 kind of a level. After that, stock has formed a double bottom kind of a formation. From there, it's seeing a good kind of a buying as well. So the technical indicators are also suggesting that a short covering rally in the stock is very much on card. So for a target of 500, I would actually go ahead and continue to hold on to the stock, maybe place a stop loss somewhere around 430, 420, which is his buying price as well, and continue to hold on to the stock.
Continue to hold on to the stock. That's the view on the fundamentals and the technical front, but keep an eye out on that stop loss level as there. Okay, so that is something that you have to watch out for. Let's move on to the next query. We have Raghuram, who's writing to us from Hyderabad. He's holding 4,500 shares of Vinati Organics. The price is 1,927 rupees. They're making a loss on this one. And they're holding one more stock that they're talking about is Gujarat Gas, 5,000 shares there at a price of 490 rupees per share. They're making a loss on this one as well. Shahina, both these companies, whether you talk about Vinati Organics or Gujarat Gas, what's the view? Should they continue to hold or sell and maybe switch to some other stock?
I would suggest that it is better to switch from both the stocks because, the numbers that we saw in the quarter were not encouraging for either of the two. Vinati Organics, while they have increased the capacity for their polymer chemicals, which has just come on stream in August. it is obvious that there is pressure on the overall margins, and they do export to the US market also. While the company does say that it is exempt from the duties, but all these issues actually is putting a pressure on the overall performance. Valuation is also not cheap. So I would say, this underperformance can continue on for some more time. And the same goes with Gujarat Gas. After good Q1 numbers, again we've seen Q2 actually, not a very encouraging performance. Here, while volumes were okay for this quarter, I believe there is a pressure both in terms of average realizations. They are trying to increase their CNG outlets, but all these things I think are going to take time. And in my view, over the medium term, you're not going to see too much upside in either of the two stocks. So I would say it's a switch for both.
Okay. Switch from both the stocks, that's the word there. Aditya, on the technicals, what's your view as well? Would you suggest a switch as well? Given Vinati's not even done anything in the last 1 year, right? It's negative returns. Even Gujarat Gas, specifically if you look at it since July, we've seen a bit of a downfall that has started for Gujarat Gas as well. So on the technical front, what's your view?
Keeping it short, Vinny, definitely one should look at switching, especially Vinity and Gujarat Gas. Both look, nothing is happening there. Gujarat Gas is a little on the weaker side. Vinity is absolutely flat. So I would recommend actually you can switch from Vinity, and in the same space can look at Navin Fluorine, which is looking extremely bullish after the numbers. Stock has witnessed a massive upsurge as well. And this consolidation that we're witnessing in the stock for past few trading sessions is an opportunity to go long and maybe have a staggered approach as well in buying the stock. Start buying at current levels and all the way down till 5,800, 5,600. On the upside, stock can test levels of 6,600 to about 7,000. So Navin Fluorine is something that I would recommend switching from Vinity. And Gujarat Gas too doesn't look all that great to me on the chart setup. And this entire space is also not doing much for itself right now. Instead of, you can look at anything from the energy space. You can look at something like an Tata Power, or maybe you can look at something in the OMC space like a BPCL or an HPCL.
Okay, a lot of names there as well. Switch from both the Vinity as well as Gujarat Gas. Navin Fluorine instead of Vinity is what you could look at, and instead of Gujarat Gas, a couple of other names that Aditya has mentioned as well. So keep an eye on that. Let's pull up the charts for Red Tape Limited. They reported their numbers. We're seeing a bit of a spike up that's come in the stock post. They reported the numbers. 10% uptick in terms of profits. 27 crores approximately is what their profits are for Q2. 18% growth in terms of revenue on a year-on-year basis as well. So yes, as of now, when you look at the stock, it's seen a spike up and holding on to gains of almost 1%. Keep it going with those next query that we have been sent today, and that is from Kadam, who's writing to us from Noida. He's holding 700 shares of SH Kelkar. Price is 225 rupees per share. Should they continue to hold or look to sell this one? Shahina, your view for SH Kelkar? It's normally, we've not received much queries on this one. This is quite different. What's your view?
Yeah, it's a very boring stock, both in terms of the way it's performed in their revenues, in their profits. Actually, if you see 5 years, but the revenues have gone up slightly steadily, the profits have actually, I think, almost halved over a 5-year period. So there is nothing much happening. It's a small cap. But if you look at the balance sheet, if you look at the promoter quality, these are positives. If you see their clients, they've got very good clients in their fragrances. It's in the fragrance and food flavoring business. It's a leader. So those are the positives, but nothing much has happened on the front of the stock price, the performance in terms of fundamentals. So I wouldn't really be buying this small cap just based on fundamentals, expecting my portfolio to do very well over the next 2 to 3 years. So I would say it's a switch.
Switch from this one and switch to where? Any suggestions there?
Well, you can look at some of the consumer durables. Actually, they are doing pretty well, so you can take your call, but I would say it's a switch from the small cap.
Okay, switch from this small cap company. SH Kelkar clearly not done anything. Aditya, would you also call it boring or bleeding maybe, because given that the rating... Yeah, it's down almost 40% in the last 1 year, right? And the viewers' buy price is 225. So what should they do?
In fact, this week's stock is down 22%. It's a fresh breakdown from a trendline support as well on good volumes. My sense is stock can slide all the way down to 160, 155 odd levels. And if it actually breaks 155 odd levels, can slide all the way down to 130. I don't see any immediate upside in the stock. Doesn't make sense to continue to hold on to the stock. it's a prudent call to switch from SH Kelkar and maybe look at some of the large cap FMCG plays or maybe something from the consumer space will be actually a better play as compared to an SH Kelkar.
Okay, keeping an eye out on these other names, but SS Kelkar, that's a switch surely coming in there. Next query for today coming from Sanjay, who's writing to us from Kerala, holding 500 shares of Tata Steel, prices 102 rupees per share, making a profit on this one, and he's been holding the share for the last 2 years. Now he wants to know, should he continue to hold or look to sell this one? Shahina, we had the results also that came in for Tata Steel this week. Good results that came in there. Overall, EBITDA per ton was something that beat the estimates at CNBC TV18 poll as well as the analyst poll as well. Overall, your thoughts on Tata Steel now from here on?
Yeah, so the numbers were good. Having said that, I think the investors also made good amount of money from his buy price, which was pretty attractive. As of now, if I was to recommend, I would say take part profits and switch to some non-ferrous stocks, maybe even copper, some stock which is in copper, because steel prices have actually started to come off. While the government has protected the domestic industry with a duty, at the same time, I think even coking coal prices are going up. So over the next couple of quarters, I think numbers will be subdued over the next 1 to 2 quarters. If you're a shorter term investor or medium term investor, I would say that there is more money to be made for the next 2 quarters in non-ferrous. But if you're a long-term investor and you've gotten at a good price and you want to remain invested, then I think Tata Steel is fine. They are bringing down their debt, overall debt, and I do think they will do better over the longer term in terms of better margins as steel prices stabilize.
And Aditya, your view for Tata Steel, should the viewer hold or sell?
I think continue to hold because he's been already holding for some time now, been a year or so. And since his buying price is so attractive, I don't see stock coming all the way down to those levels. There is an intermediate correction that we are witnessing in the stock for past couple of trading sessions, but I think so that's a very short-term phenomena. Over a longer period of time, maybe 6 months to about 1 year's time frame, stock should see levels of 200. So I would recommend continue to hold because the entire metal pack is looking quite interesting and could be the sector to watch out for at least the first half of 2026. So I wouldn't look at booking or profits, rather stay put here and look for a target of 200 from medium to longer term.
Okay. That's a view coming in there on Tata Steel. Maybe we can look to hold from the medium-term point of view. But, looking at the projections that are coming in from the BR election, let's just pull that up because NDA is projected for that big win in BR. 201 seats for the NDA, 37 for RJD. Out of the total 243 seats, 201 seems like for the NDA. So that is what we are keeping an eye out on in terms of this as well. Important updates for us on the domestic front will be coming in. But on that note, we're going to actually slip into a very short break. But here's a quick programming note for our viewers. You don't want to miss this one because meet the new team at CNBC TV18 live at 3:30 p.m. today. Watch as our new anchors make their debut. Welcome back to your stocks, and as of now, NDA in terms of that 201 seats, that is there for a thumping victory is what we're keeping an eye out on. But in that, BJP is around 90 and JDU is around 80 seats. And obviously, you have the RJD numbers there, but clearly seems like that win is coming in from the NDA, that's the National Democratic Alliance, where we have 201 seats. And I mentioned the breakup for you all as well. But yes, keeping an eye out on more numbers that will come in there. But on that note, let's keep it going with those stock-related queries. And we still have Shahina Mukadam as well as Aditya Agarwala to answer all of that. Let's move on to the next one. This is a newly listed kid that has come on the block, that is Transrail Lighting. And Shahina, Rajesh is writing to us from New Delhi. He's holding 200 shares of Transrail Lighting. Price is 743 rupees per share. Medium-term outlook for the stock. What's your view?
This is one IPO that came out about a year back. I think it came out in December. Yeah, slightly lesser than a year, December 24. So this is one IPO that has remained above its issue price largely. And but actually, unfortunately, the investors bought it at a high. So the issue now is whether he is going to recover his buy price. In my view, it's going to take some time. I doubt in the next 6 months he is going to recover his buy price. While the numbers have been good, they have reported strong numbers for Q2. And also the order book position is pretty good. They're talking of 7,000 crores, which is equivalent to what they should do in FY26. So that is comfortable, and they are in a good segment. They are in power transmission and distribution EPC. So everything is fine, except that in terms of valuation, it is not very cheap. And I think the investor will have to wait for maybe a year or so to actually make money on his investment.
Okay. Aditya, your view, I know there's not enough in terms of charts, just some 10, 11 odd months that is there. But anything that you would keep an eye out on here?
I think the correction is done with Vinny. It's a good time to continue to hold on to the stock. Almost formed a double bottom kind of a scenario around 600 odd levels. And my sense is in the coming time, stock is going to see higher levels from here. So maybe a 750 kind of a level is something which is possible on the stock, maybe in 6 months time frame. So continue to hold is what I would suggest. Decent stock as a disclosure. This could be in our client's portfolio as well in the consumption basket. So one of the stocks that we continue to like as a house as well.
Okay, let's move on then to the next query. We have Deepak Dave, who's writing to us from Gujarat. He's holding 500 shares of Afcon Infra and price is 480 rupees per share. They're making a loss on this one right now. Long-term investor. So can he look to add more shares or sell? That's his query. Shahina?
No, not add. I would say that he should sell, book profits, loss or profits or whatever that is from his buying price. I think he's making a loss. He must have gotten at the IPO because 480 was the IPO price. And basically, what I don't like about it is that the promoter pledges are very high for the stock. And so this is going to keep the overall pressure on, the stock price. They have got a very strong order book, about 35,000 crores. But at the same time, their performance has been, one quarter was good, second quarter is not that good. And for an EPC contractor, this is going to be the issue. So I would say it is better to switch, exit.
Okay. Exit is what you would say. Better to exit this one. Okay, Aditya, your view for this one? What is it that the viewers should do for Afcons? Should they add or sell?
I would also recommend a sell because charts don't look all that great, constantly making lower lows, lower highs. And again, one of the recently listed stocks, though the data is a little lesser on, but I feel stock is headed lower, at least to levels of 380 to about 360 is what I see on the stock. So it's a good idea to actually exit from the stock.
Okay, good idea to exit from the stock. That's the view there on the fundamentals and the technicals. Let's move on to the next query. We have Agnello Pereira, who's writing to us from Goa. He's holding 150 shares of IndusInd Bank. This is at a price of 1,579 rupees, holding it since 2017. So clearly a long-term investor. Wants to know what should he be doing now with IndusInd Bank. Hold, book his losses, switch to another banking stock and another stock. Shahina?
I would say that, he can hold for a little bit more time because this, the stock seems to have had all the bad news it's factored into the price. If you look at price to book, it is just about 1 time, which is pretty cheap for the size of IndusInd. If you looked at the Q2 numbers, while there was, of course, losses and huge provision write-off, etc., which impacted their overall profitability, on the asset quality, there has been some improvement. Net performing assets were slightly lower. And also, if you saw the provision coverage has improved, it's about 72%. So I think all these factors put together may see a bounce in the stock. And then I would suggest you should switch to a stronger bank, something like one large bank like an ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, which actually can remain in your portfolio for the long term.
Okay. And Aditya, your view quickly on IndusInd?
I would concur with Shahina and would recommend continue to hold for a target of at least 1,200 on the upside.
Okay, continue to hold with the target of at least 1,200 on the upside that one could do for IndusInd Bank. So keep an eye on that. But Shahina as well as Aditya, thank you so much for joining us on the show. As always, hope you'll have a great weekend. And thank you viewers for tuning in. But a quick look at the Bihar election numbers that have come in. 201 for the NDA, 37 for RJD as well. In that, BJP is 90 seats, JDU is 80. And then we have that is the LJP, that is Lok Janshakti Party, that is at around 23 as well. So we'll be keeping an eye out on those numbers there. But right now, clearly seems like majority coming in for the NDA side, 201 over there. But yes, we'll keep an eye out and keep you updated with that. But with that, we're going to wind down this edition of Your Stocks. Thank you so much for tuning in. Up next, your closing bell to take you to the last hour of trade. So thanks for that.